Everyone,
Did you hear that?
thanks for coming to our PMC Presents Internship Roundtable panel discussion. This is Laura Neal. She is Entertainment and Arts Career Center Consultant, Specialist.
Specialist, yeah, from the flyer.
Laura Neal. And I'm James.
Hi, James. What do you do, James?
Who are you?
I'm graduating this spring, and I'm PMC president, and this is kind of my idea, just kind of give back to you guys if you guys have questions. With me, I have Chris, Christina, Patricia, Garrett, Ashley, Whitney is over there. I introduced them only because we either interned already or are currently interning, and they like to talk about their experiences, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask us anything you have, or if you're wondering about anything. Yeah.
So the idea was that I'd go ahead and kind of kickstart it and talk a little bit about kind of internship overview, because I've been the instructor for the Visual Art 495 internship class a couple of times already, as well as working for many years with the communications department at its 495 internship class. So I know a lot about some of the P's and Q's and where the resources are and stuff like that. And I'll try not to go on and on too long, but please interrupt me with questions or points of clarification. It'll make it a lot more fun. Again, this is a round table, right? And yeah, if it looks like I'm going on too long because I don't have a clock in front of me, you just kind of go like this, right? And we'll remember to make time, because though I have a lot of information to give you, it doesn't color in the details the way hearing somebody's story does, which is why I think James's idea is very cool, to bring everybody together to talk about, well, this is what I did. You know, and even if it conflicts with what I said, I don't care. I'm not here to be right. I really am not. So, because we want it to be real, right, and really useful. Okay, so I'm going to start out with a book that we have at the Career Center. Some of you may have already seen it. I want everybody to take one as their free gift for coming today. Yeah. Woohoo! Yeah, swag, as it were. Arturo, you didn't have a hand in this thing, was it? This was your predecessor, right? You did? Yeah. Okay. So can I give you some props? I would love to. I just want to also give a shout out here to one of your fellow art students, Arturo, who is the graphic design department at the Career Center. This book, he's all over it. This is his work. Yeah, so thank you, Arturo. Go art, yeah. Yeah, let's get some more to come back here, right? So in this book, take one down and pass it around. You'll find kind of everything you need for your career survival. But also, what I really want to focus on, though, is the middle part, the resume section. Here's a few more in case they didn't get all the way back. The resume section, there's little fake tabs, kind of little gray tabs on the side to direct you to the resume section. Because when I think of what to do to get ready for an internship, how to prepare, the first thing that you need to do is sit down with that piece of paper and make a resume to submit. And you want to start this whole process really, really early, because working on the resume is going to take longer than you think. And because we advise that every time you send out a resume, you send a cover letter with it that's customized to that particular internship. So that's going to take more time than you think. And because the process of contacting someone, whether it's with a resume or because they came to speak at a PMC meeting, and then following up about the internship they talked about, all of that back and forth and moving forward takes more time than you think. So I like to advise students to start about 3 months in advance. So right now, which is probably why so many of you are here, is a great time to be planning and preparing for your summer internship. Right now, as we're just coming on to March, is a perfect time to start gussying up that resume and cover letter. Bunch of samples in the middle of the book. All right, start around like page 50, if you want to just look with me real quick. Look at the samples there. General, freshman, internship, part-time resume. What do you notice about them? They're all kind of short. What else do you notice about them? To the point? Really look very much the same, don't they? So like, well, and what did you say? Simple? Simple? Yeah. Right. So it's easy to read chunks of information. I don't want to get into a whole like resume building workshop. I could do that for an hour, right? And that's not what we're here for. But I want to point it out to you because it's there as a resource. Use these as a starting point. Yes, even if you are an artist, you can use a basic resume format like this, especially if you're targeting animation studios. The internships that you'll be looking at may be very different in what they're requiring. Most of them that we see, especially for animation majors, don't require that you already have a portfolio or a demo reel or a blog already in place. You know, just tell them what you got. Don't worry about what you don't got. Jump in and just get going. All right? When you start you make a first draft of your resume using this, using some other sample that your friends showed you. It's like, I got my internship with this resume. That'll work. That's fine. But before you send it out, come into the Career Center. Let us help you proofread it. Make sure that there's no spelling and typos. Get an extra pair of eyes on it, just like crit in a class, right? Put the work up, get some objectivity, what's going on with this piece. It's the same thing for this document. Yes, it's just a list of what you've done, but it has to represent you and try and convince that the person reading it that you're worth their time, that they want to call you in person for an interview, right? So it's a pretty important piece of paper. Same with the cover letter. Now the difference being, I say start now, start looking for internships. Are there any deadlines? Study the description, work on the resume, bring it into the Career Center, get somebody to look it over, and write a cover letter that you get looked over at the Career Center too. The cover letter is much more specific. If you look at the samples on page 64, there's a date, the name of the person it's going to. Those are going to be specific to who you're sending it to, but as well in the content, the body of the letter itself, you may say different things to different people, depending on the skills that they're looking for, right? So if it's an internship at Nickelodeon, right, one of our favorite stops, Cal State Nickelodeon you could call it, and then the kinds of internships that they have and the responsibilities that are involved in those positions are what you want to focus on in your cover letter. Don't spend your cover letter a whole paragraph talking about your ability to do life drawing, that, you know, if that's your super skill set as an illustrating, drawing, and painting double major. Talk about the skills that you do have as they apply to that particular position. Right? Read their description. What are they looking for? Match it up. That's a hard thing to do. The university tries very hard to get students a chance to build your writing skills for just this very purpose. This is where you get to show your ability to communicate about yourself in a written form. Number one skill set every industry, every kind of employer wants to see you have. You as an artist need to be able to articulate your strengths, your interests, and match it up with that organization, whether it's a big one like Nick or Disney or Cartoon Network, whoever it is, or a small one like Titmouse. Small. Titmouse is a very small mouse. It really is an animal. Did you know that? Yeah, oh, okay. Because people intern there, they know what the animal is. Okay, so resumes and cover letters and looking for the internship positions, getting ready to apply is what you should be doing now, being aware of deadlines. A lot of the big companies, they're accepting applications now for summer, right? And if you wait until April and May, well, whew, the positions might be gone, all full up for that semester. Yes, sir?
Is it common for them to hold like fall internships as well?
Most of them are rotating year-round, so that they're not like project-based so much as, you know, depending on whether you're quarter system or semester system, it's like we've got a spot open or the spots are filled. And they generally seem to align pretty well with our semester system. So again, thinking of that 3-month in advance preparation, now for summer, and then in the summer for fall, and in the fall for spring. That's kind of how you should think about it looking ahead. Summer's a little bit different, I think, as you prepare for fall, because the summer is only about 2.5, 3 months long. You know, and by mid-August, we're already back to our fall semester. So You think, well, 3 months in advance of mid-August means I should be applying for a fall internship in May. So that makes sense according to what I told you. But the reality is if you started applying for your fall internship in May, you're not going to hear back other than, oh, yeah, talk to me later on. Because it's a shorter time span. So usually July, end of July, mid-July is when they want to start hearing from you for a fall internship. Okay, the other big thing I want to talk about that's really important for students to all get a grasp of is to 495 or not to 495, right? If the internship itself, the employer, requires that you get credit, meaning it's unpaid and they say you must be enrolled in a class or you must be able to receive credit, that's what you look for to decide if you have to do a 495 class. That's how you get the credit here on campus. So if it's Nick, Cartoon Network, let's see, Film Roman just switched to a paid model so you don't have to be enrolled in the 495 class to do it, but let's just say Nick and Cartoon Network for right now. They require academic credit. So you have to enroll in an internship class here at Cal State Fullerton and be enrolled in that class the same semester that you're doing the internship. Don't enroll in the fall class and then do the internship in spring. Or don't go do an internship this summer and then show up on campus in the fall and say, I want to take the 495 class and get credit for that internship I just finished a month ago. It's not going to work, right? So what you do is you decide, okay, I see this internship, I want to do it. Do they require I get credit or is it paid? It requires credit. Okay, I'm going to enroll in a class. So you can do your visual arts 495 internship to get credit. It's not the only way to do it. You can take the visual arts 495 class more than once. I think you can take it at least twice if you want to get those units and go through that class because it has the portfolio review at the end. But you can also get credit by doing an internship as an elective class, which is good news. I say for non-BFA students, the visual art 495 internship is supposed to be for BFA students. So if you're not a BFA student, but you're still interested, maybe that's not you guys because you're Pencil Mileage Club members, but other art students can still do internships for credit by doing an internship as an elective class. Right? There's always a way to work it. Now, if the employer pays you, where are the paid internships? Disney, Film Roman. Who else has paid? Is Titmouse? Are their internship paid? No? Still unpaid? Credit only? Where? Cartoon Network's paid? Oh. They are? Everyone's changing over. Ah, okay. Yeah, great. Yeah, like, thanks a lot. Huh? Film Roman? They're owned by Starz Network? Yeah. Simpsons is their biggest one. But, okay, so they are paying, but I believe they also require credit because they don't want to open the door and say, we're offering this paid internship and then have everybody and their brother who wants to work in animation all over the planet be emailing their resume. They still want to put in some kind of a filter. They say, we want college students who are artists or media students in our program. So they say, you got to receive credit as well as offering you the pay. But there are some that will just pay you and they don't require credit. So then you don't have to enroll in a class, okay? Skip the whole elective or visual arts 495 thing. Dana Lamb is the instructor for the visual arts 495 class this semester. Anybody? No, you would probably want to be here if you were doing that class. You'd already have your internship, right? He will probably teach it in the summer, and I don't know who's going to do it in the fall, whether that'll be me or somebody else. So that instructor for the visual arts 495 internship may have other assignments that you do, but in any case, the 495 class doesn't meet on campus like a class, right? Your classroom is the studio or agency where you're doing the work. The employer is your instructor. The work that you're doing for the clients or for the company is your classwork, homework, your learning experience. Okay. Any questions about the credit, not for credit thing? I can go over it again.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Let's say if you're applying currently and you haven't heard back, you can still enroll into the class. And then there is a always drop it later. There's a cutoff date. But if you're still like waiting to hear back, you'll still be enrolled.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're thinking ahead for summer, when do you start enrolling in summer classes? This coming March, right? So you sign up for an internship class in March, and you continue to send out your resume, cover letter, and apply for internships. What if your plans change? Or you work really hard, you send out 10, 15, 20 different resumes and cover letters, nothing pans out for some reason. You drop the class before the drop deadline, get your refund, no harm, no foul, move on to the next semester, right? Good point, yeah. I want to mention the Center for Internships, the CICE. We call it the CICE because the CICE is got a too long of a name. It stands for Center for Internships and Community Engagement. Way too many syllables. So CICE for short. They're in LH206. They're the department that makes sure that you get the credit, that the employer is playing by the legal rules, and that you're legally protected. So one of the things that Dana and I have made sure that try and do in the Visual Art 495 class is make sure that you register in the CICE website. There's no big thing to discuss about that, but I just want you to all kind of walk away and go, internships, do them for credit, do them for pay, maybe I get both. Sign up for a class or don't sign up for a class. If you're doing it for credit, you're going to be going through the CICE, the Center for Internships, as well as doing whatever the instructor tells you for that class. And then the Career Center is kind of the place in between where we have a little bit of information about both, and we're there to help you with your resume and your cover letter and your interviewing skills and your search strategies as well. So there's kind of 3 different departments you're going to be interacting with, if it's a credit-bearing internship, meaning an internship for credit. The department, your major department, the CICE, and the Career Center, right? And most of the time, we kind of align pretty good and know what each other's doing and what's going on, but not always. So you're the glue. When you do an academic credit internship, you got to run around and navigate all those departments and make sure everything works out so that you get the credit and everything's legal, everything's safe, and you get your good grades and turn in the assignments and everything. All right. That's kind of my piece.
Is there any questions?
Yeah. Everyone's like, TMI, no. They're like, oh, I'll just ask later when I sign up for the internship. Okay, then why don't we go ahead and move on to sharing stories. That would be a lot more interesting, I'm sure.
Some stories.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have some 5 questions for the current interns or past interns, people who've done internships. I'll start to my left. So number 1, where did you intern?
I'm Ashley. I interned at Cartoon Network last semester.
And what production were you on?
I was on a new production, which I can talk about now because they, since cleared it, they did release it. So there's like 3 new shows that are coming out, I think within the year. But I was working on something called Clarence. It was super cool. And my team was literally 4 people. So
More on that later.
it was super cool. And super fun.
And Garrett, where did you intern and what production?
I'm Garrett, and I interned at Nickelodeon on the production of Robot Monster.
Has anyone seen it?
Super smaller shade.
Somebody, Jenna down there? Eddie?
Yeah, I'm right here. Hi,
Stand
my
up.
name's Jenna. Sorry.
There we go.
Yeah, hi. My name's Jenna. Last semester I interned at Film Roman for Ultimate Spider-Man. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good people. So.
Eddie?
Oh. Wait, did I have to tell? Hi, I'm Eddie. I interned at Warner Brothers last summer on Mad, the Cartoon Network show based on the magazine.
Whitney?
Hi, I'm Whitney, and I'm interning at Technels right now, and I'm on the show Executioners / Supernatural. I'm on 2 shows.
Where were you?
What company was it again?
Technels?
Titmouse. Oh.
Patricia?
Hi, I'm Patricia, and I interned at Nickelodeon last semester on Monsters vs. Christina. I actually worked at two internships. My first one was Film Roman on Ultimate Spider-Man, and my second one was at Titmouse working on 2 shows, Metalocalypse and Black Dynamite.
Was it the same semester that you did both internships, or one to different semesters?
One spring, then the next year I did in spring. I just spaced on between spring semesters. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Chris. I've interned also at 2 places. At Film Roman, I interned on Spider-Man, and at Titmouse, I'm on China, Illinois.
Oh, and I'm James. I've done my first internship last spring at Nickelodeon on The Legend of Korra, and I'm currently interning at Titmouse on some special projects, not really a show, but more like the side projects. Lots of fun. Wow. Then, I guess next question. What were your day-to-day tasks and challenges? Ashley?
I got my own cubicle, and okay, I was literally there at the very beginning. So as they were making storyboards, they would hand me the originals, and I got to go off and copy them and crop them and do all of the fun archiving stuff, and then go back and go like, I made them pretty for you.
But they kind of trained you, so like,
they did.
Yeah, so you had to worry about like not knowing. Right?
So my line producer was super cool. His name was Keith Mack, and he was one of the line producers for Adventure Time. So literally right when I started, it was like his first day as line producer for Clarence. So he taught me like anything that I wanted to know. So clearance reports, he taught me cropping and storyboard archiving, just a lot of cool things that I don't think about in the animation world. And you're like, you're right, someone does have a job who does that, and thankfully it's not mine.
Okay, can you talk about about it being like production-based compared to like an art-based one? It was mostly production, right?
Yeah, I was a production assistant. So just giving me tasks every day. And like, how do you mean different from art?
You're an artist, but your internship was mostly production-based, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It totally was.
Which is a great point to bring out, because you know you're like so honed in on your major, and every student does this. You know, you're training for this major, like you have specific skills and knowledge, and so you think internship must do this. But there's so much more, especially in animation, right? All these processes and steps and little pieces of the puzzle that have, you know, work involved, that aren't necessarily just the art making piece. That's actually a very small piece in a way compared to the whole production process. So, you know, learning to think outside the box, you know, and think about how your skills, you know, will apply as you look towards your career is really an important part of why, you know, doing an internship, right? To explore all the other areas there are.
Production's super interesting, but it is, I got to do promo art around the interior of my floor just because they had boxes and they were like, you're crafty, make us some things. But normally you wouldn't get to do that. So I had like a super awesome opportunity to literally make like a 3-foot clearance out of cardboard.
Really?
But normally you don't get to do that, so have sticky notes on hand to decorate your cubicle.
Can I add to what Laura was saying about portfolios and demo reels? Yeah, feel free to chime in, you guys. But it's like if you don't have a solid portfolio yet and you're already interning, it doesn't hurt you, or it doesn't. It only helps you if you know exactly what you want to do. Like I want to be a character designer. I want to storyboard, and by knowing what you want to do and having like a portfolio cater to that, you can get feedback from the artists already in the studio. Professional storyboarders are already there. You can ask them exactly what they do already and get feedback on your own work. So it only doesn't hinder you, it only helps you. It only adds to the internship experience. So I know Gary got a lot of feedback from
Yeah. Oh yeah, well I knew what I wanted to do. I always say, know what you want to do before you start interning, because that'll also help you figure out where you want to intern. I want to do CG, rigging, to generalist, so like pretty much a lot of the technical work. So part of also what they look for in hiring is someone who's determined and already knows what path they want to follow. So that helps them place it a lot better. So like I said, I want a CG, so they put me on a CG show. They say, oh, this is perfect because he can fit in with this crowd of people and you can learn from them. You know, appreciate it, instead of putting someone who kind of just wants to do like talent development or voice acting or something, or like people who search for voice actors, which was someone else at our internship, and she was put into the talent scouting, which is exactly what she wanted to do. And so also is like getting feedback from artists. You're going to learn a lot more from people who are currently working at their job because it's fresh feedback from what that job currently entails, as opposed to like, you know, nothing beats learning firsthand from someone who's actually doing it.
Hands-on experience.
Exactly. And then like under the table, I got to like troubleshoot a few like props and stuff for the show. Artist totally wasn't supposed to do that, but still, it was just me taking that opportunity to learn it. And just like being there and being able to open up one of their characters and search around and see how they do things, see how they model things to bring them to life, pipeline for animation. And then you're also getting to know those artists, which I think is even more, the most important thing you can get from an internship is just networking and connections and being relevant as an artist more than just a student now. So yeah.
And one thing, number one question, I know you guys agree or not, but everyone's going to ask you, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? So if you give them a direct answer, even if you could just kind of fake it till you make it sort of thing, if you're still not sure. But you know, narrow it down so you can channel your energies to one thing specific. And you can always change it later. Like it's really up to you. But if you know, kind of have a target, you know, pinpoint target. Just do everything.
We had one guy that he got the nickname the General because he was like, "I'll do everything, I'll do anything."
Yeah, you don't want to be. You don't want to come off desperate. You know.
You don't want that attached to you.
Okay, so we'll go back to the question. What were your day-to-day tasks and challenges on your internship?
James, I did everything from updating model packets to printing out giant posters of shirtless Ryan Gosling. Mine was an interesting case because when I started, just like small side note, I started there's a lot of shift in who was running the studio at the time, right when I started. And there's a lot of changes, so literally 2 weeks before I started, they canceled the show that I was going on for the second season. It's like, oh, we're not going to pick it up. And then a lot of people were upset, and it was kind of like a cold, hard reality of how kind of cutthroat the Hollywood model kind of running things can be. But they're so cool. There's plenty of enough work for me to do for most of it. Near the end, I was printing out shirts on costumes for people's birthdays. Intern, let's do this. They're like, no, intern, we're gonna go, here's a Nerf gun, we're gonna go assault the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crew. Stuff like that. My supervisor did, she would call me Injun. I thought it was a little derogatory, but so I still keep in contact with that whole crew because having that through time now, I got to not only really get to know them very well, what do you want to do today? I don't know. But I also freed me up to go explore other productions and other artists. And so even though I don't have a production to go back to now that I'm graduated and hit them up, I now have a whole crew of people that dispersed onto different shows and different places. So now it's you don't know where you don't not only know where you're going to be, you don't know where all your friends are going to be in a couple of years, because essentially every 2 years artists are going to be working on a different project. So now it's so I remember seeing Jenna at a get-together. We just saw even this weekend. Mm-hmm. We were at a mutual friend's party, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you're going. How's it going?" And that's just because I knew. I think Ed was your supervisor at one point.
Mentor.
Okay, mentor. So
he was
same
my
guy
boss
who mentored her at her internship was also on my show, when I was learning from as well. People go around different studios.
Cross-pollination.
Exactly.
And Eddie, your day-to-day tasks and challenges?
I have to get up every time. My day-to-day tasks, it was kind of half art and half production. I would track the scripts for the actors, the the voice actors, I would go to the ADR, which is audio dialogue recording. I would like track their dialogue and then make sure it's correct for the animatic. And then I also had a mentor in like background design because that's what I wanted to do. So like during my off time, after like I finished my production work, I would go to a different production, which was Beware the Batman, and ask one of the background designers there for feedback, and he would give me assignments. He would give me rough storyboards, and then I'd have to design the scenery that takes place in the storyboard. And he'd give me like a week to do like 4 or 5, and then I'd get back to him at the end, and then he'd give me like feedback on that.
Thank you. Jenna, your day-to-day tasks and challenges on Ultimate Spider-Man?
For Film Roman, I wasn't allowed to do anything artistic. I couldn't work on any of the storyboards or the character designs. It was more just working with the files and organizing everything and taking the files into Photoshop and making the character layouts pretty and nice so they would be ready to send overseas. And then when I wasn't doing that, I would push myself to find work. So if you ever find yourself just kind of sitting around, it's always important to ask people, hey, do you need this or do you need that? And if they didn't, I would go down to Ed in the editing room, and he would show me little tricks for animatics. So I would always try to keep myself busy and talking to people. And yeah, Ed and I became pretty good friends, and that's how we found ourselves at the party. And I saw Garrett, hey, I didn't know you were going to be here. So it's just a chain of events. So just keep yourself in the mix. So
I just want to add in to note, like sometimes, especially in the entertainment industry, sometimes going to your supervisor's party on Friday night is more important than homework. Believe it or not. Pull yourself away from the
I didn't hear it.
It's fun too.
As an artist, artists are naturally introverted because you're doing art because that's how you express yourself. And it's funny because when you get into the industry, you have to become the exact opposite to keep going. You have to be very extroverted. You have to say yes. Like the whole point, like what we always got in Nickelodeon was never say no to anyone. If someone offers you something or asks you to do something, you say yes. If someone says, hey, like it's my birthday party, come on, we're gonna go get 2 beers. Like, but I'm underage. Yes. But like, well, don't sing in the bus, but
There may be limits to some of the, some things. Yeah.
But it's important because that's, you know, relevant, showing interest, hanging out and getting to know the people that you will work with because it's a small industry. And you want to know the people that you're working with, and you want people to stick your necks out for you and knowing that you'll stick your neck out for them.
And then that's the one thing, if you guys feel free to add in, the soft skills, in terms of like, just the basic social interactions, the, small talk, talking. It's so important. Like, it's something you don't think about when you're interning, because when we're at school, it's kind of like, oh, the dream is to work at a studio and like all art, animation, discussing movies. But when you're actually there in the middle of it, like you have to interact with the people, and then you want to be like someone you want to be around. Like you want to be someone like nice. Someone like people would want to come up to you and talk. And that's what a lot of the social part. You don't really think about that, like I said before, but
you don't want to be stuck in overtime with someone you hate.
So like what Jenna was saying about some days you will have absolutely nothing to do, and that's your time for asking people for feedback or making yourself available to help, because that's why you're there in the first place. And I know, just from my experiences at the studio, I know that most people, day to day, it's just a job for them. They don't get to explain what they do all the time. And when you have somebody there to ask them, like, even if it's a stupid question, hey, what do you do? What does that mean? Like, they're really, really glad to explain what they do, because they don't get to do that every time. And in a way, it validates what they're doing and gives them the chance to like show off what they're doing, which is really cool for us because we have no idea. But for them, like, they see it every day. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
So Whitney, your day-to-day tasks and challenges.
And say something about challenges. No one's talking. Everyone makes it sound like it's all fun. There must be some challenge. She's got one.
I got some challenges.
It was like straight up 6.
All right, so titmouse, they're usually